The man is going to be the head of you, the woman. The head of him has to be Christ. And I feel like that is important because in order to submit to a man, you want him to be a biblical man. Hi everyone, welcome back to another video. In this video, we're going to talk about some things that single women should know before they get married. I want to start by saying I'm not married. In fact, I did not want to be married for a very long time. I remember my heart used to be so hard. I was so opposed to it for reasons that we're not going to get into in this video, but God transformed my heart. He really worked on me. And I'm not saying I will get married tomorrow, but I'm more open to it now. And so when God was transforming my heart, I said, okay, God, since you're working on me in this way, if I'm supposed to be married, I want to be ready. So I went on a deep dive in researching how biblical wives should be. Everything that I will say in this video will be taken from research from the greatest book of all time, the Bible. And so it's all from a Christian perspective. I mean, it's applicable to any woman who wants to learn. I encourage you to sit back, listen, and let's get into the video. Point number 1, know your priorities. So as Christians, whether you're man, woman, boy, or girl, your main priority, your main obligation is to God. We have to have that personal relationship with Him on an individual level. We have to get to know God for ourselves. But as women who want to be biblical wives, we also have another set of priorities, which include taking care of your husband, your kids, and your home. These are the main roles of a biblical wife, a responsibility to your husband, to your children, and to your home. I know that in our society, women are encouraged to be boss babes and to hustle and to be continuously on the grind. And nothing is wrong with that. In fact, in Proverbs 31, where the Bible talks about the virtuous wife, you can see that she invested and she was earning an income. She used her hands to make money. And so it's not to say that there is anything wrong with having an income, with having a career. However, no matter what obligation, whether it's your career, your job, your extracurricular activities, hobbies, these should not interfere with your role as a wife, which are to take care of your husband, kids, and the home. It probably is going to be a little hard to kind of condition our mind to this ideology because of what we've learned all along as women growing up. So I encourage us to maybe start thinking about ways we can fulfill this role. We could work in a job that offers flexible hours. Maybe you could work from home. Some women choose not to work at all. You could hire help if that's an option that's available to you. Maybe get help from relatives, from friends. Just start thinking about ways you can fulfill your role. I don't believe that you can ever truly be prepared for the role of a wife until you're in the role, because of course your husband may have different needs than another person's husband. If you have children, those children may have a different set of needs, may have different activities that you have to attend to than, say, another set of children. So you won't ever be fully prepared for the role. But this video is just to encourage you to know what these priorities are and to see how best you can maybe start thinking about you want your life to look like in the future. Point number 2, as women, we tend to be more argumentative and complainative. We tend to fuss more and complain and quarrel and nag the Bible tells us that we should not be this way. We need to bridle our tongue, be mindful of how we speak, how we communicate, especially to our husbands. In Proverbs 31, where it talks about the virtuous wife, I think it's verse 26, it says that when she opens her mouth, wisdom comes out, and there is good instruction, some kindness, and the Bible goes as far as to saying how horrible it is for a man to live with a quarrelsome woman. Let's pull up the verse. In Proverbs 25 and verse 24, it says, "It is better to live in a corner of the housetop than in a house shared with a quarrelsome wife." Wow. And in Proverbs 21 and verse 19, it also says that it is better to dwell in the wilderness than with a contentious and angry woman. And some versions even say it is better to dwell in the desert. Imagine how sad, how horrible it is that it is better for a man to live in an ocean of sand, because that's what the desert is. It's dry and empty and lonely, and it is better for him to live there than to live with a quarrelsome and contentious and cantankerous woman. If this is not a sign for us to just do some introspection and to see how we are, how we communicate, how we solve problems, I don't know what else is. And I'm glad that I learned these things before entering into a marriage, because now I can maybe work on the areas in which I'm lacking, and I invite you to do the same. I know that as women, we like to have things done our way. I personally like to have things done my way, and for a long time I was like this. And it wasn't until God was transforming me and teaching me that I decided to, like, calm down, take it down a notch, and to be more accommodating, be more understanding. Now let's move on to our next point, which is to submit to your husband. And I know this one kind of have some negative connotation, but we're going to examine it today. When you're single, you get to live life. However, everything is about you, right? However, when you become married, when you get married, the two of you become one. Therefore, you now are making decisions together, you are considering each other's feelings, each other's needs. And the Bible tells us that in 1 Corinthians 11, verse 3, it says, "The head of the woman is the man." But I would have you know that the head of every man is Christ, and the head of the woman is the man, and the head of Christ is God. It shows us that men are put in charge to lead, they are the head, they are to take that responsibility. And we are not supposed to be in competition with men. Despite what the world will want to tell you, the man, especially your husband, is the leader in the household. He is the head. And what is important to note here is that it doesn't only say that the head of every woman is the man, but it says the head of the man is Christ. And this is very, very, very important to note, because if the man is going to be the head of you, the woman, the head of him has to be Christ. And I feel like that is important, because in order to submit to a man, you want him to be a biblical man. You want him to have Christ as his center, as the head of his life, so that he will be able to lead you according to the principles of the Bible. He would be a good ambassador of Christ. And women, we can discern these things. We have an internal intuitive system if I could call it that. That helps us to know that the man, he is godly, he is Christ-like, and we have an even better navigator, which is the Holy Spirit, to help us discern if the man that you're dating, that you're seeing now, is he a biblical man? Does he follow the principles of the Bible? Does he talk about God? Does he love God? Is Christ the head of him? Because if he is not, it's going to be very difficult to submit to that man. And I know some women are already married, and I don't know what your situation is. It may not be that, it may be that your husband is not a believer in Christ, and I'm not going to tell anybody how to live their life in that regard because I don't know. But for women who are dating or women who are single, we have the opportunity now to choose wisely, to choose godly men, to choose men who have Christ as their head. That when it comes time to submit to that man, it's easy. It's not a difficult thing to do. Because even in Ephesians 5, when it also tells you here that wives are supposed to submit to your husband, just below that it says, and husband, love your wives as Christ loved the church. You know how Christ loved the church? So much so that he would give his life for the church. When choosing a husband, choose a husband that will love you like Christ loved the church. And the Bible goes again to tell us what love is. Love is patient, love is kind, it doesn't envy, it doesn't boast, it is not proud, it is not rude, it is not self-seeking, it does not delight in wrong, it does not keep records of evil, but it rejoices in the truth. Ladies, when we have those two things working hand in hand, the man loving you like Christ loved the church, and you submitting yourself, it's going to be a very biblical, holy matrimony. The next point is to maintain your home. You have to know how to maintain your home, be keepers of the home. And this will include doing some domestic tasks like cooking, knowing how to do laundry, separating your whites from the light, from the dark, knowing how to iron, knowing how to polish furniture. And I'm not saying that we have to be perfect at all of these things, but we want to at least know the basics so that we can have our home clean and neat and inviting, welcoming, warm, safe, hospitable to our families and to guests whenever they come around. As women, we have to know these little things. The Bible tells us in Proverbs 31, where it talks about that virtuous wife, she was a keeper of her home. And it says her children blessed her, her husband praised her. So just little things that we can do to ensure that our homes are clean. And like I said before, if you're able to get help, if you don't know how to do it, or you don't have enough time and you'd like to ensure that your roles are fulfilled in the home, so you could hire help if that's available to you. Or maybe you have a really nice relative who is willing to come over and help you. When a home is clean and inviting, it's a space that has tend to have less chaos, because disorganization causes some level of disorganization in the mind, if I could say that. It just makes it makes our lives more chaotic. This is why it is so important that the homes are in order. And I go as far as to say creating a safe place, a safe space in the home, so when your husband comes back, he will feel at ease. There'll be no nagging. Goes back to the previous point. He will feel at ease. He'll feel ready and willing to talk about his day, to talk about his emotions, because that's your role, to support him. The next point is to be a helper to your husband. And this is not about your worth, your value. It's more about a function. Your function to your husband and kids, if there are any, is about being there to support, to be of assistance, to be helpful. In the Bible, God called himself help. And it's about his function in our lives as well. He's there to support us and to help us, never forsaken us, a very present help in the time of trouble. Anyway, I digress. So when it talks about being help, it goes back to my previous point where in choosing your biblical husband, a child of God, it is likely that he will have some role in ministry, whatever his ministry is it in preaching, teaching, music, whatever he's doing, some role in ministry. We can help him fulfill that role by supporting him, by giving him a word of encouragement, that's being a help, by giving him inspiration, by being his confidant, by being his companion. Maybe we can do more practical things like ensuring that he has clean, laundered clothes to go out and fulfill that role. He is well fed, fueled, so that he can go and do God's work. This is important. This is our role as wives, um, or as future wives. I hope that you've learned something. I hope that you were encouraged and you will take these points into consideration to prepare your hearts and soul of how to be a biblical wife. If you would like to see a part two, do comment. Let me know your thoughts. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you again.